song What's Up has been timeless since Four Non Blondes dropped their hit single in 1993. It's been a pop culture mainstay, from soundtracks for TV series like the Wachowski sisters' Sense8 to now classic memes. It's giving that classic 90s grungy lesbian alternative band vibe, especially when you watch the music video. I've loved this song since I was a kid, but it wasn't until a few years ago that I realized how well its deceptively simple lyrics described many of the experiences I had while doing philosophy. I started to treat it like a kind of philosophical theme song, as in, like, if philosophy had a theme song, what would it be? It would be this song, right? I'm not the only one who thinks this, right? It reminds me how philosophy, indeed any critical investigation of experience, begins with asking questions. What's going on? One way to distinguish between academic disciplines is to look at the kinds of questions they ask and about what. Historians ask, what's been going on? Why? Importantly, they ask this question because they don't know the answer. That not knowing the answer part is really important and difficult. You first have to admit that you don't know something, that you don't have it all figured out. In order to ask a question, you have to care more about the answer than about whether you appear ignorant to others. In other words, sometimes you have to risk looking a little bit stupid.
Are you still recording?
Wait, what?
Are you still recording?
Oh. Your curiosity has to be stronger than your ego. Sometimes the need for an answer is so urgent, so crucial, we don't even have time to be curious or to care about our egos. Like realizing you've become lost in the woods, these are moments when our lack of knowledge becomes a problem with a capital P. These are situations when it really matters that we get things right, because the questions and their solutions really do matter. I like to think of philosophy as a discipline devoted to asking questions that matter, or perhaps better said, as a discipline for figuring out which questions matter and why. When I hear in Linda Perry's voice is humility in the face of the question, what's going on? As deceptively simple as it is, she seems to recognize that it's a lot bigger than she is, and it's going to take a lot of work to really figure it out. Recall the lyrics in the first stanza. After 25 years of struggling up that great big hill of hope, she's had a realization.
I realized quickly when I knew I should that the world was made up of this brotherhood of man. For whatever that means.
A brotherhood of man? That sounds awesome! Whatever that means. But next, she tells us, and so I cry sometimes when I'm lying in bed, just to get it all out, what's in my head, and I'm feeling a little peculiar. Wait, if the world is a brotherhood of man, why does she cry? Why does she feel peculiar? What does she see when she looks outside? Ah, she says.
And so I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on?
And yet upon stepping outside, what does she find? Well, let's answer that question for her. If you look around, it doesn't feel very much like a brotherhood of man now, does it? You feel her problem. It is, and it isn't. But it should be.
And I try. Oh my God, do I try? I try all the time in this institution. And I pray. Oh my God, do I pray? I pray every single day for revolution.
In a few steps, she takes us from an observation about the world to a critique of it, to a demand for change. She tells us how she struggles to do her best within this system. She gives us the tears, the depression, the inability to get out of bed, the anguish of trying to make sense of all of this. All the emotions that come with seriously asking that question, what's going on? She shares her hope, her prayers for a power strong enough to transform or dismantle that system, to change what's going on. And she gives us a solution, a revolution. In the end, maybe that's why the song feels timeless. The question, what's going on, is always at once both ancient and new. The same words, always flexing to fit new times and genuinely new conundrums. And maybe that's what people mean when they say that philosophy is timeless or universal. Not because it's a storehouse of eternal truths, but because it's rooted in an impulse as regular as waking up in the morning, stepping outside and asking, what's going on? This is philosophy as a kind of waking up. The last point I want to make is that it matters who is invited or enabled to collaborate in producing philosophy. Whose voices are valued? Whose conversations get named philosophy? Whose authority is recognized? Who establishes the standards for judging the truth value of a belief? Who gets to be involved in making those decisions or to participate in that conversation? By what means are these standards arrived at? Are they handed down by the dictates of some unquestioned eternal authority? Or do they emerge out of a more democratic, debate-driven process? The answers you give to those questions will depend on the kind of values you hold. Social ethics make epistemic demands. Or in other words, what and who we value shapes how we think, who we trust, and what claims we accept. So why does all of this matter? To quote another band, this time a post-punk group from the 70s and 80s, we've all got opinions. Where do they come from? Each day seems like a natural fact, and what we think changes how we act. Philosophies, worldviews, these don't grow on trees. They don't fall from the sky. People invent them to make sense of reality and to do specific kinds of work, for good or ill. Sometimes for both at the same time, unintentionally. There is revolutionary potential to this realization. Concepts can be challenged. Concepts can be changed. Challenging and inventing concepts is how philosophers practice care and creativity. Care for human beings whose lives might be constrained by concepts that confine them, and creativity devoted to creating the conditions for a world of expanded possibilities. So I invite you now. Wake up, step outside, take a deep breath. Now ask, what's going on?